Video lectures and ISR initiative by Shivanand Sharma Memorial RV College. SSMRP College, one of the premier institutes run by the prestigious RV group of institutions, has come up with a unique initiative to engage students at the time of this unforeseen medical emergency caused by a corona outbreak. As a socially responsible institution, we would like to connect academically with students to make good the losses caused. In this connection, I, Mrs. Bharti Rathod of Department of Computer Applications, has posted a video on the subject system programming, and the topics are relocating loaders, direct linking loaders, dynamic loading and dynamic linking. Please watch the video till the end and like, share with your peer groups and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Learning outcome: students will be able to explain subroutine linkages, relocating loaders, direct linking loaders, other loader schemes, and dynamic loading, dynamic linking. Subroutine linkages: consider main program and subroutine program. The main program A wishes to transfer program control to subprogram B. The programmer in program A could write a transfer instruction, that is branch and link instruction, to subprogram. But the assembler does not know this symbolic reference. Hence, it will declare the error message. So, assembler provides two pseudo ops codes, that is external and entry. Let us study about external and entry pseudo ops. Before that, we will see the definition of pseudo-ops. It is an assembly language instruction that specifies an operation of the assembler. External pseudo-op is used to maintain the reference between two or more subroutines. The assembler pseudo-op code external followed by a list of symbols indicates that these symbols are defined in other programs but referenced in present program. The assembler will inform the loader that these symbols are defined in one program but referred by other programs. Entry: correspondingly, if a symbol is defined in one program and referenced in other, we insert pseudo-op called entry. Subroutine references: assembler symbols are either internal or external. External means that values are known to the assembler but will be provided by loader. Example: external pseudo-op followed by E1 and E2 etc., which defines as external symbols which are used in address constants. Entry pseudo-op code is optional, which is used to defining entry location of subroutine. For example, consider a main program A and subroutine program B. Start is a pseudo-op, external is also pseudo-ops, which tells the loader that these symbols used in one program but referred in another. The BALR branch and link instruction branches to the contents of register 15, which is address of subroutine. On machine 360 we have register 15, which is used as a base register, and register 14 has return address of subroutine. Relocating loaders. Purpose of relocating loaders is to avoid the possible reassembling of all subroutines when single subroutine is changed. Definition: in this scheme, the assembler produces code and the relocation information. The loader, while loading, the program performs relocation. Hence, the name relocating loader. Relocating loaders are the loaders that perform four tasks, that is allocation, linking, relocating and loading. As the task of allocation and linking is performed by the loader for a programmer, there is no need to be assemble all the subroutines when single subroutine is changed. Let us see the example of relocating loaders. Binary symbolic subroutine is one of the example of relocating loader. The binary symbolic subroutine loader allows many procedure segments and one common data segment. The assembler assembles or translates each segments independently and then passes assembled segment and information about relocation and inter-segment references to the loader. Example, there are three subroutine programs are there A, B and C. If one of the subroutine address is changed by increasing length of the program, it will affect other subroutines also. This problem can be handled by binary symbolic subroutine. Thus, the output of relocating assembler is the object program and information about all other programs which it referred. In addition to this, there is relocation information such as one of the subroutine address is changed also loaded in memory. For each source program, the assembler produces machine language equivalent of the program called text. This text is prefixed by transfer vector. The transfer vector consists of addresses containing names of the subroutines referenced by the source program. Example, consider a main program in which subroutine program named by square root is called. Now this transfer vector would consist of symbolic name to sqrt, that is square root. Whenever square root would be called, then that calling would be branched to the transfer vector. The assembler would also provide the loader with additional information like length of the entire program, length of the transfer vector, information about all other programs it refers, relocation information. After receiving information passed by assembler, the loader performs the following action. First, loads the transfer vector into the core. It loads each subroutine specified in the transfer vector. Then, loader places a transfer instruction to the corresponding subroutine in each entry. Thus, the problem of relocation is solved by using relocation bits. The assembler associates a bit with each instruction or address field. If relocation bit is equal to 1, the corresponding address field must be relocated. If relocation bit is equal to 0, the field is not relocated. Now we will see the BSS scheme instruction format. It is of RX type of instruction. We will have total 32 bits of length. Opcode is of 8 bits. R1 and R2 address are of 4 bits and absolute address of the operand, that is of 16 bits. Advantages of relocating loaders. Reassembling is not necessary. It allows independent translation of each module. Disadvantages. The transfer vector increases the size of the object program in memory. The BSS loader processes the procedure segments but does not facilitate access to the data segments that can be shared. Direct linking loaders. Direct linking loader is a generally relocatable loader, most widely used. It allows multiple procedure segments and multiple data segments. Any segment can refer data instructions contained in other segments. The assembler or translator must give the loader the following information with each data or procedure segments: the length of the segment, a list of all the symbols in the segment that may be referenced by other segments, a list of all symbols that are not defined in the segment but referenced in the segment, that is external reference, a machine code translation of the source program, relative addresses assigned. Now we will see object module format in direct linking loaders. It is having four layers: external symbol dictionary ESD, text, relocation and linkage dictionary RLD, and end record. This module is produced by an assembler. Object module corresponds to the binary symbolic form of a program. Now we will see one by one of the object model. External Symbol Dictionary ESD. It contains information about all symbols that are defined in the program but referenced somewhere. Also, these symbols referenced in the program but defined elsewhere, that is in other program segments. It contains reference number, symbol name, type of the instruction, relative location, length. External symbol dictionary cards classified into three external symbols. They are segment definition, local definition, and external reference. Segment definition refers to the segment or name of the program. Local definition is specified on the entry card. There must be a label in the program with some name. External reference, there must be corresponding entry card in another program with same name. Text card. It contains the actual object code, that is translated version of source program. Relocation and linkage dictionary, which contains information about those locations in the program whose contents depends on the address at which the program is placed. And also it contains information like the location of each constant that needs to be changed due to relocation and the operation to be performed. The format of RLD contains reference number, symbol, flag, length, relative location. End card, it indicates the end of the object program. Other loader schemes. One of the drawbacks of direct linking loader is that it is necessary to allocate, relocate, link and load all the subroutines each time. In order to execute a program, suppose there are hundreds or thousands of subroutines involved. The loading process can be extremely time consuming. Also, loader program may be smaller than the assembler program, which takes considerable amount of space. This problem can be solved by dividing loading process into two separate programs, a binder and module loader. Now let us see what is the binder. Binder is a program that performs same function as direct linking loader in binding together. It outputs the text as a file or a card deck. Rather than placing the relocated and linked text directly into the memory, Binder also saves this text into a file. The output of this file is in a format ready to be loaded is called a load module. This module loader loads the module into the core. Functions of load modules are loading, whereas functions of binders are performs the function of allocation, relocation, link. Two major classes of binders: core image builder and linkage editor. Core image builder, a simplest type similar to single absolute loader. A specific memory allocation of the program is performed at a time that the subroutines are bounded together. Since this looks like snapshot or image of section of core, hence called core image module, and the corresponding binder is called as core image builder. Advantages: simple to implement and fast execution. Linkage editor, most sophisticated binder. It keeps track of relocation information and module loader must perform additional allocation and relocation as well as loading, but does not worry about problem of linking. Advantages: more flexible allocation and loading scheme. Dynamic loading. In the previous types of loader schemes, we have assumed that all of the subroutines needed into core at the same time. If the total amount of core required by all these subroutines exceeds the amount of core available, naturally execution process will be delayed. Hence, efficiency of execution process gets degraded. This type of problem can be solved by paging and segmentation. Dynamic loading schemes based upon use of binder prior to loading. Consider a diagram. Subroutines calls between the procedures. There are 5 subprograms A, B, C, D and E of 100 kilobytes of code, which indicates subprogram A calls B, D and E. B subprogram calls C and E. D subprogram calls only E. Figure shows interdependency between procedures where procedure B and D never in use, and at the same time C and E also. If we need load only those procedures that are actually to be used at any particular time, the amount of core needed is the longest path of the overlay structure, that is 70 kilobytes. Consider figure possible storage assignment of each procedure. The portion of the loader that actually intercepts the calls and loads the necessary procedures is called overlay structures or simply the flipper. The overall scheme is known as dynamic loader or load on call. Dynamic linking. A major disadvantage of all the previous loading schemes is that if a subroutine is referenced but never executed, the loader would still incur the overhead of linking the subroutine. Hence, we can define dynamic linking as a mechanism by which loading and linking of external references are postponed until execution time. That is, the assembler produces text, binding, and relocation information from a source deck. The loader loads only the main program. If the main program should execute a transfer instruction to an external address or should reference an external variable, only then the segment containing the external reference is loaded. Advantages: no overhead is incurred unless the procedures system can be dynamically reconfigured. Thank you for watching.